Now, this is pretty darn sick. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, hey Charles, I saw a bunch of videos with similar titles all about the same guy, Steven Spielberg. Now, that's because I got invited to something really cool. AJ from Cult Popture has invited a bunch of us creators to all make a video on Steven Spielberg for the month of November. If you want to join in too, please feel free to tweet at AJ at Cult Popture and he can add you to the playlist, which is also in the description down below. A ton of amazing creators are all joining me in this effort to basically celebrate all the amazing filmmakers that are in the industry right now.
Now, with Mr. Spielberg, there's a lot to talk about. We can literally pick any film from his filmography and any topic. So for me, this was rather interesting, because what entails being a Steven Spielberg film? In my head, I associate him with quality and great family adventures. But he's so much more than that. I went straight to my favourite franchise of his. No, not that. No, not that either, Jesus.
Yes, that's right. Indiana Jones, the franchise that actually marked the first time Steven Spielberg started even doing sequels. And even though it's ingrained massively into our culture, like you can go to places like the shopping centre and just play his theme and everyone can jump straight to it and go, oh, that's indie.
But in the realm of modern culture, when you bring up, oh, what do you think about the franchise, or what film do you think about most? Most jump to how great Raiders is, or if they're older, how much Temple of Doom was a disappointment back when it came out. And most commonly, how Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just doesn't exist, which is kind of fair. But what tends to happen often is that no one talks about one of them that I actually find to be my favourite. So this video, I'm going to dive straight into what I think is the underrated sequel of the Indiana Jones franchise. The idea of a good sequel is quite a large and nuanced topic. I don't think there is a simple formula you can use that can apply across any sequel and just fit nice and neat. The breaking point of copying too much from the previous film or straying too far away is so very fine. Movies where characters are repeating character arcs are very common, and films where the fan base is left with husks of what they used to love is even more common too. So what does make a good sequel? One of the best video essays on this platform is Schaefer Ellis's video on Shrek 2. In it, he breaks down what he thinks every sequel must have to be great, with, needing to expand the universe to provide audiences with new story threads to latch onto, or new locations and characters, the type of stuff that shakes up the status quo. Having themes from the previous film come back in some way, or expanded upon, or introducing new themes that our characters can go through. And lastly, leave an everlasting impact on the franchise by the time the credits roll. None of these are awfully too specific to be unattainable, but all are foundational reasons to why you should ever even make a sequel in the first place. Unfortunately, you can very much tick all of these boxes and still feel like a hollow experience that's lacking substance. Spider-Man Far From Home is a film Twitter will never stop talking about. It received glowing reviews, and I even gave it a great score myself, and even though I think the film itself was really good, was it a good sequel?
No, man.
Now, this isn't just to, put more fuel on the we hate Tom Holland flame. This is just really easy to demonstrate that even a good movie, in my opinion, can fall into the modern sequel formula. Peter getting his identity revealed, does it leave an impact on the franchise? Well, yeah, of course. But at what cost? But this is all over Hollywood, not just Spider-Man and not just the MCU, and this opinion is something I've kind of recently formed, and I don't know how much I stand with it, but it's just my current stance on it. Movies now rely on bringing back old stuff just to get you in the seat. So when movies used to feel like events, now it feels like smaller episodes in a larger piece of the puzzle that may never be finished. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Charles, really? Indiana Jones 3? That's meant to be really good and made a shit ton of money, right? Well, yes on all fronts. But after rewatching this movie, I was just like, damn, this movie's straight fire. Because even if we take it through the sequel formula, it expands the universe by taking the search for the Holy Grail, but it combines that with the search for Indy's father. You get this amazing dual narrative going on. With how tight the script is, there's just no baggage. So yeah, it's expansive. New locations are aplenty in this movie. Granted, just because you go to different places doesn't equate to good filmmaking. But the way this movie keeps moving without making it feel rushed is really darn good. It makes sure, yeah, we're going from place to place, but at every point the characters bring up what is at stake, why they care so much, why they have to go to the next location, and then it's just not exposition or plot. The next two are even more obvious with, yes, new themes are present of course. the theme of legacy and fatherhood, all that great stuff is all here, and this installment does leave an impact on the franchise. That's indisputable. So you can see that it smashes all of these metrics out of the water, but none of these reasons above are why I would say you have to see The Last Crusade at all, no. And it changes depending on who I'm talking to, but if I was to pitch someone that they have to see this movie, the first leg I would stand on is the amazing set pieces. That's an easy dub for Team Charles. But at its core, it has to be that relationship between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, that father-son dynamic duo. The way Spielberg handles Hart is masterclass, and earlier I asked what entails a Steven Spielberg film, and at the start of writing this video I didn't know. But in the process of researching and watching films of his and talking to the other creators doing videos, I found it. Like the long-last MacGuffin in an adventure movie, I found it. It's Hart. Any great Spielberg film has characters who, at their very core, you know where their hearts are at. And when all the story beats come crashing together, you care because the characters care. Every sequence in the second half of this film is tied directly to that father-son dynamic with Indy and his dad. The action takes place on things like the slowest moving tank or taking a small step forward. Compared to modern media, it's not even just comparable to similar films like the Da Vinci Code movies, which I still enjoy, don't get me wrong, but they have little to zero heart whatsoever. And I said it before, and I'll just say it one more time. This movie perfectly ties its action to the characters, so that jump or that action or punch that they make isn't actually what makes it so great, but it's the reason or the cause and effect from said action. The entire final sequence where Indy has to rush through the trials of the Holy Grail to save his father is pure gold. Every minute is tense and so amazing. Cutting back and forth between Indy and his dad as they both work out the puzzles together, getting some parts right and wrong, the editing, music, it's just pure masterclass. Steven Spielberg really is one of the best directors of all time. This monthly directors project thing I'm going to be a part of is going to be on a lot of great talent, but none really have as much of a vast of a catalogue of movies where 20 people can take part in this thing we're doing and pick a separate movie with just a completely different reason with why it's outstanding or game-changing like we can with our boy Steven.
I have had an absolute blast making this video, so I have to thank AJ so much for inviting me to be a part of this, because without him, there was no way in hell I would be making a video on a movie from 1989 not on a Caped Crusader, without him organising something of this nature. And please, if you want to join, tweet at AJ, that's not his handle, but at Cult Popture on Twitter, and he'll add you to the playlist. Just pick a Steven Spielberg film, any scene, movie, whatever, and he'll get you added to the playlist. This is all about us all just celebrating, directors that are working in the industry right now. And other than that, that's pretty much it. It's been a crazy few months with the last few videos. You guys have been smashing out the support, so for this one as well, if you can like it, subscribe, all that jazz. Comment down below your favorite Steven Spielberg movie, and I'll see you guys in the next one.